All right, fight fans, welcome to another deep dive. And today we're stepping into the ring for a matchup that's got the internet buzzing. Jackie Chan versus Bob Sapp.
Yeah, this is it's a real clash of styles, you know, and we were talking about Jackie Chan, the legend, the master of agility and adapting, you know, using anything around him to his advantage.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Up against Bob Sapp, the behemoth, the powerhouse, known for just unbelievable strength and a background in, you know, kickboxing and MMA.
Right, it's a classic David and Goliath story, but with a martial arts twist, you know.
Totally. So before we get into like how this fight might actually go down, let's just lay out the tail of the tape here for a second.
Yes, yeah.
So on one side of the ring, we've got Jackie Chan, and he's like, what, 5'9", maybe 5'10"?
Yeah.
150 pounds soaking wet.
Right, more of a welterweight. You know?
Yeah, and then you've got Bob Sapp towering over him at like, what, 6'5", easy, maybe even taller, and like 300 pounds of solid muscle.
300 and something, yeah, true heavyweight.
It's a massive size difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know, the thing is, this fight wouldn't just be about size, you know. It would be about like two completely different fighting philosophies clashing.
Right, so like on the one hand, you've got Jackie Chan. He's all about speed and fluidity, you know, like dodging and weaving and using his opponent's momentum against them.
Yeah, like a willow tree bending in the wind, you know.
Exactly. And then on the other side, you've got Bob Sapp, who's just like this battering ram, just pure power and aggression.
Yeah, he's like a force of nature, you know.
Okay, so let's try to picture how this fight might actually play out.
Yeah.
Like that first bell rings, the crowd is going wild. They're both in the ring, staring each other down.
Oh man, I think the atmosphere would be electric, you know.
Right. Totally. So what happens? Does Sapp just come out swinging for the fences, trying to end it quickly?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think he'd try to land a knockout blow early, you know, like a big overhand right or something.
But Jackie's not just going to stand there and take it right.
No way. Jackie's way too quick and agile for that, you know. He'd be bobbing and leaving, slipping those punches, making Sapp miss, and tiring himself out.
Like in Drunken Master,
Yeah.
where he's dodging all those attacks, making his opponents look silly.
Exactly. Jackie would be all about using that drunken fist style, you know. Unpredictable movements, throwing Sapp off balance, making him work harder.
And Sapp would be getting more and more frustrated.
Oh, absolutely. You know, because he's used to just overwhelming his opponents with his size and power. But Jackie wouldn't be playing that game. He'd be like a slippery eel, always just out of reach.
And our sources all point out that Sapp has this weakness when it comes to stamina, right?
Yeah, he's known to gas out, you know, especially in a longer fight.
Right, which is kind of surprising for a guy his size.
Yeah, you'd think he'd have endless energy, but it's not really the case. And against someone like Jackie, who's like the Energizer Bunny of martial arts, that could be a real problem.
Totally. So as the fight goes on, Sapp's getting tired. His punches are getting slower and sloppier.
And Jackie's still fresh, still moving, waiting for his moment.
So what's that turning point? When does Jackie decide to go on the offensive?
Well, I think he'd be patient, you know, waiting for Sapp to make a mistake, to leave an opening, and then bam, he'd strike with those precise lightning-fast attacks.
And he'd probably be using the environment to his advantage too, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is Jackie Chan. We're talking about the guy who can turn a ladder into a weapon. He'd be using the ropes, the corner posts, anything he could get his hands on.
The ring would become like his own personal playground.
Exactly. He'd be running up the ropes, bouncing off the turnbuckles, maybe even grabbing something from the crowd to use as a weapon, you know?
So in the end, do you think Jackie would actually be able to knock Sapp out?
I don't know about a knockout, but I think he could wear Sapp down, you know? Chip away at him with those precise strikes, target his weak points, exploit his exhaustion until he just couldn't go on anymore.
And our sources seem to agree with that, right? They say that Jackie would win through tactical brilliance, through adapting to the situation and exploiting his opponent's weaknesses.
Which makes a lot of sense, you know? Because brute strength isn't everything. It's about strategy, about knowing your opponent, about using your strengths to overcome their weaknesses.
So I think this deep dive really highlights something important, right? It shows us that even when we're facing a challenge that seems impossible, like going up against someone way bigger and stronger than us, there's always a way to win. If we use our brains, if we adapt to the situation, if we find a way to turn our weaknesses into strengths.
Exactly. It's about thinking outside the box, you know? Like Jackie Chan does in his movies. He never gives up. He never lets his size or his opponent's strength intimidate him. He always finds a way to win. And I think that's a really inspiring message for all of us.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect place to wrap up this deep dive. So listeners, next time you're feeling outmatched or overwhelmed, remember Jackie Chan. Remember that even the smallest guy in the ring can win if he uses his head and never gives up.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See ya.